WRSR, Owasso, Flint. The following program has been pre-recorded and is paid for by Discover Flint Township. The views expressed are those of Discover Flint Township and do not necessarily reflect the views of 103.9 The Fox or Krill Communications, Inc. Welcome to Discover Flint Township, a program showcasing our local community. Flint Township is ready for your next move. And now, your host, Flint Township Economic Enhancement Director, Tracy Tucker.
I'm Tracy Tucker, and this is Discover Flint Township, brought to you by the Flint Township Economic Development Authorities, HAP, Financial Plus Credit Union, Shea Automotive Group, and 103.9 The Fox. During our Guaranteed Rate Business Spotlight segment, every week we feature a local Flint Township business, and today we have Dr. Mark Mattos from Michigan Vascular Center. Welcome today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Tracy, for having us.
I really love your property that's there at the corner of Linden and Bristol, right? It's beautiful. You guys always take such immaculate care of it. I do want to say that's where it's at, the northwest corner of Linden and Bristol Road. You all see it there when you're stopped at that light that takes forever. They can stop in and see you guys, but let's start out with who you are and what you do at Michigan Vascular Center.
Well, thank you. I'm a vascular surgeon, and I'm the program director for Michigan Vascular Center Vascular Surgery Fellowship Training Program.
Okay.
And I'm one of 10 vascular surgeons who are in the group.
Wow.
And 7 advanced practitioners who take care of patients with vascular disease.
Okay. So when you're talking about vascular disease, and I didn't say I was going to ask you this either, but what exactly do you mean by that? That's when you get into the veins and stuff, right? Or
no,
what exactly is that?
It's part of the answer. So
okay.
what we do is that, and that's a common misconception amongst the public and the lay people who aren't in medicine, is that we treat both veins and arteries. And so I like to think of it as, and we like to think of it as, that we treat everything from the head down to the toes, but not inside the head and not the heart.
Okay.
Everything else is our domain in terms of what we care for with patients with disease. So carotid arteries to prevent stroke, the aorta to prevent aneurysms. And so we take care of everything except for two places on the body. That's inside the head and the heart.
All right. Awesome. And I'll remind everybody, I'm not a doctor. So we say that quite often on here. And I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn. So I'm going to ask the same questions that everybody else would ask. But before I want to talk more about your team later. But before we do that, how long have you been in that location there at Linden and Bristol? Do you know?
Probably a good 25 to 30 years.
That's what I'm thinking.
They were just down the street at a smaller place for the first 5 to 10 years, 15 years. And then as they grew, I've only been here 6 years, but as they grew from a small company to a larger company, they needed a bigger space.
Sure. You've already talked about what services now, do you provide services at the hospitals and outpatient facilities? You do both?
Yeah, we're large enough to do that, and we've had a pretty good growth, which we're very grateful for.
Sure.
We work at 4 hospitals in the region. We work at McLaren, Genesis, and Hurley, and at Lapeer Hospital, and we do emergency services at McLaren, at Hurley, and at Genesis, but not yet at Lapeer.
Wow.
We also have 5 different outpatient centers that we take care of patients, both seeing them in the clinic and also performing procedures. And so we have a pretty wide-ranging area. We go up to Saginaw. We have outpatient centers here in the Flint area. And we have a vein solutions with Dr. Scott Garner, who's one of my colleagues and partners. He does only veins. And so that's his specialty. So we have a pretty wide-ranging, comprehensive area that we treat.
That's awesome. So now you talk about that you do have a single center comprehensive care concept. What is that concept and how does it work?
Well, much in medicine can be fragmented. And so I don't know what your experience is, but I've been a patient before. And so I've been asked to go one place, then I have to go to a next place,
right.
And then I have to go to a next place, and I have to do this and I have to do that.
Sure.
From a vascular surgical point of view, since we take care of patients everywhere in the body, except the head and inside the heart, our patients want to know that we can actually take care of them in a one-stop visit.
Right.
And so we do that. And so that involves the initial care by nurses and the surgeons and the advanced care providers. But that also includes the non-invasive vascular lab, where we actually look at arteries and veins under an ultrasound. It involves, if like some of our patients, we're not able to save their legs. It's just part and parcel of the work we do.
Right.
And so they have an amputation. So rather than sending them somewhere else to be evaluated by a physical therapist, a prosthetist, or an occupational therapist for somebody who's had let's say a below-the-knee amputation, we have that service in our office. It's an in-house office, and it's called Amputee Associates, and they are within the Michigan Vascular Center realm. And our patients are so grateful because they would move from the room that I see them in 25 feet away, and there's a prosthetist who will then discuss all things about having a prosthetic leg and the newest advances, and our patients don't have to travel.
That's awesome.
They go to the parking lot, they come in, and they see everybody. We think that, from a cost efficiency, from a clinical efficacy point of view, is the only way to go, and we think that distinguishes us from a lot of other people. We're the only, how should I say it, we're only vascular center in the Midwest 13-state region that has that ability to do that.
That's awesome. And just the stress that it takes off the patient, too, would help recovery, right?
Yep. So what happens is that when, in that circumstance, and we'll just focus on that, most patients, by the time they come to that point of view, are saddened by the fact that they've had to lose their leg because of diabetes, because of ulcer, because of smoking, all those risk factors that lead to things that we weren't able to save the leg, which happens in a small number of patients. So part of the comprehensive care, having the prosthetist and the team approach to vascular surgery is that we also assess their wellness and their mental needs as well. They need that kind of support that for us to say, it's going to be okay.
Right.
You're going to be walking. It'll be with a prosthetic leg. But you're going to be walking and living your life normally rather than being depressed and saddened at home not doing things.
Yeah. You help them through the trauma
Absolutely,
of the situation.
absolutely, yeah.
That's wonderful. I thought of a question while you were talking and it just went out of my head. But that's okay. I'll think of it like 2 minutes down the road. So you have a group, a team there that are not only locally well-known, but nationally as well, that are held up as leaders in their field. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So one of my partners, Dr. Robert Molnar, who's been here since 1998 at Michigan Vascular Center, he is the SVS chairman for the Outpatient Labs Committee for the SVS. And that has to do with establishing accreditation nationally around the country for outpatient-based labs, which is a new way to treat patients out of the hospital. It's a more cost-effective, more clinically efficient way to get patients in and out, particularly in today's world of COVID.
Right.
You don't always want to be in the hospital. And so what we can do is bring them in and out. And Rob actually was the first person to establish an OBL with Michigan Vascular in 2005.
Wow.
So he's been the leader nationally, and now he's the chair. Myself, and I've been able to be selected for several national I was a recent president of the Midwestern Vascular Surgical Society, which is the regional society over 13 states in the Midwest. That was in 2018. And I serve as the co-chair for the SVS Political Action Committee, which basically talks to politicians around the country about medical issues, about reimbursement, about patient care, about what they call surprise billing and access to care.
Yeah.
Because many times our seniors, we have to go through this thing that's called prior authorization, which means we have to get the okay from people 1,000 miles away to treat your mom or my mom or somebody else's. So we help with the legislative issues that way, and I'm the co-chair for that. The third person...
That's very important to get through that red tape and figure out...
And then we can't do it as physicians. It has to have political muscle. And so we talk on Zoom meetings with all the politicians around the country who are supporting that. And then Joe Jackett, who is our CEO, he has been on the initial steering committee for the SVS Physicians Assistant Group that's part of the SVS, him and 6 other members. So we have a lot of local and we have a lot of national recognition for which we're proud of.
Yeah.
And we have other people who are doing different things in the state and in the region as well. But nationally, we're the main three.
That's wonderful. And I remembered my question while you were talking, so I wrote it down. So how does somebody use your services? Do they have to have a doctor referral, or does it depend on what their insurance is and that type of thing?
A lot of times we take everybody that comes our way, right? And so a lot of times, though, the insurance will specifically say you cannot come see any of the physicians at Michigan Vascular unless you get a referral from a primary care physician.
Okay.
So many times, though, people without insurance will come to the emergency room, and then we will see them. We don't need a referral. We know that they have a problem.
Right.
We know that we have the expertise to be able to address it. So we go see them. We don't care. But I think for the most part, most of our patients come with referrals from primary care or internal medicine or cardiologist as a way to get them into our office.
That's great.
Yeah.
And now I would think that in the medical field, research is obviously important, very important to improve your patient outcomes. Do you participate in clinical trials and the like?
Yes, we do. I mean, again, Dr. Molnar has been leading that, and we're all involved in the group, all 10 of us as vascular surgeons and the 7 advanced care providers. Since 1998, we've been involved in 85 different clinical trials.
Wow.
And when you look at it, it comes out to about 3 or 4 per year. We have our own research center within Michigan Vascular Center where we basically, that's all we do is that they adjudicate the trials and do all the patient care follow-up and all the administrative task work, which is really, really quite a lot these days. We believe that if the only way we really can advance patient care is through research, because there are a lot of grafts, a lot of stents, a lot of new treatment techniques that we are a part of that now are mainstream, that weren't mainstream in 2000 or 2005. One of the examples that we do is a new treatment for carotid artery disease to prevent stroke, and it's called a transcarotid arterial revascularization, or TCAR. And it's where we do a minimally invasive approach through a small incision in the neck, and we place a bare metal stent to trap any blockages or anything that might throw clots to the brain for a stroke. That's a new research trial, and we're part of 2 trials regarding that.
Wow.
That wasn't present 10 years ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. And I know training and education are extremely important as well.
Yeah.
And you're doing some things with that with fellowships?
Yeah, I'm the program director. Dr. Chris Goltz and Dr. Ranjit Dotla are our associate program directors. And our philosophy is that you don't advance community health care as well unless you have training the next generation of vascular surgeons. Mm-hmm. So what we do is that we train 3 vascular surgery fellows who've completed general surgery training but now want 2 additional years of vascular surgery, and so that they can become like me, like Dr. Molnar, like Dr. Goltz, so that in 2 years they're able to practice on their own. I've been multiple places. I've been Southern Illinois University, the University of Washington. I've been at Wayne State University, and every place that I've been, the thought has been is that education and training advances the care of patients within that region. It changes the concept of how you take care of patients and the care that they receive.
Awesome. That's awesome. Now, how would people get a hold of Michigan Vascular Center? I'm assuming they can go online.
Yes.
And what's that website?
It's www.michiganvascular.com.
Okay.
Easy to get, easy to remember. And then the phone number is 810-732-1620.
Awesome. And I think I appreciate you coming in today. That's fascinating to me. I really enjoy learning about things like this. And maybe I can get with Joseph and we can have some of the other companies that are under your umbrella come in and talk as well, like Main Solutions, and then the gentleman who does the prosthetics.
Yeah, the Amputee Associates. That'd be great.
Amputee Associates. Love to have them. But for right now, I'm going to thank you for coming in. It was wonderful to meet you and to also get all this awesome information. I would like to remind our listeners that if you have any questions, you can contact us at discoverflinttownship@gmail.com, or visit us on Facebook at Flint Township Events, FLINTTWPEVENTS. You can go to our YouTube channel, Discover Flint Township, or visit our web pages, discoverflinttownship.com or flinttownship.org. I want to thank our guests today, Bridget from HAP and Dr. Mattos from Michigan Vascular Center. And thanks to our partners, HAP, Shea Automotive Group, Financial Plus Credit Union, Guaranteed Rate, and 103.9 The Fox. Discover Flint Township with us next Sunday at 7:30 a.m. This is Tracy Tucker, the Flint Township Economic Enhancement Director, and I would like to remind everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, shop local, buy local, and discover Flint Township. See you later.
This has been Discover Flint Township with Tracy Tucker. For more information, visit discoverflinttownship.com. Flint Township is ready for your next move. The preceding program was pre-recorded and was paid for by Discover Flint Township. The views expressed are those of Discover Flint Township and do not necessarily reflect the views of 103.9 The Fox or Krill Communications, Inc.